Today, when you get hungry, you're going to do something completely natural. You'll open a fridge, walk to the nearest supermarket, or just swipe your finger across a smartphone screen. Food will appear in front of you in half an hour, and you won't even think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, this comfort simply did not exist. When our ancestors opened their eyes in the morning, the world around them offered zero guarantees. They had no storage, no grocery stores, and absolutely no technology. Calories had to be hunted down every single day. If you didn't find food, you became food. A single mistake could cost the lives of the entire tribe. So, how did they manage to survive in a world where all wild animals were faster, stronger, and more dangerous than humans? The answer to this question completely changes our understanding of evolution, human intelligence, and what actually made us human. Let's start with anatomy, because our bodies are living proof of exactly how we got our food. If you look at a human from nature's perspective, we look like absolute underdogs. We don't have sharp fangs like leopards, no powerful claws like bears, and we can't run at the speed of a cheetah or even a deer. But we had a secret weapon that scientists only truly appreciated recently. That weapon is our ability to sweat. Humans didn't evolve to be sprinters, but rather the ultimate long distance runners. Most mammals are covered in thick fur and cool themselves down by panting, meaning they have to stop to dump heat. Humans, however, are covered in millions of sweat glands and can cool down while moving at a full jog. This led to a unique strategy known as persistence hunting. A group of ancient humans would pick a target like a fast antelope and just start running after it. The antelope would instantly vanish over the horizon. But the humans didn't stop. They followed the tracks, maintaining the exact same steady pace. A few miles later, they would find the animal again, scare it, and it would run off once more. This went on for hours under the scorching sun of the African savanna. The antelope could run faster, but it couldn't sweat. Eventually, the animal would simply collapse to the ground from heat stroke, unable to move. Humans didn't defeat their prey with brute force, they defeated it with their thermoregulation. We were the most relentless marathon runners in history, but hunting was only part of the story. For a long time, popular culture told us that male hunters provided everything the tribe needed. However, anthropological data shows a completely different picture. Hunting was highly risky and often ended in failure. The true foundation of survival was foraging, mostly done by women and children. This wasn't just chaotic wandering through the forest looking for berries, it was incredibly complex cognitive work. An adult tribe member could flawlessly remember the properties of over 800 plant species. Ancient humans were walking encyclopedias of botany. They knew which root to dig up if it was raining, which berry would become toxic if picked unripe, and where to find hidden underground tubers that store water. Foraging required a phenomenal spatial memory. In fact, it was the need to remember the map of food sources that developed our brains and forced humans to communicate. But even if you got meat or found nutritious roots, one massive problem remained: raw food. And here happens the most important upgrade in human history. We are talking about the mastery of fire. Before the invention of cooking, our ancestors had to spend up to 6 hours a day just chewing raw meat and tough fibrous plants. Raw food is digested incredibly inefficiently. Fire changed that equation. When you cook meat over hot coals, the food becomes soft and safe because heat kills dangerous parasites and bacteria. As a result, the body started getting significantly more calories in a fraction of the time. The human gut began to shrink, and that freed up energy was redirected in massive doses to the brain. The brain began to grow at an explosive rate. We started spending less time chewing and more time thinking. As our brains grew, our technology became more sophisticated. Humans realized that going after a mammoth with a burnt stick was a terrible idea. Hunting large game turned into true strategic military operations. A group of herders with torches and loud shouting would drive a herd toward a hidden pit, or over the edge of a cliff. The animals would fall, providing the tribe with tons of meat for months ahead. This required perfect coordination, language, and abstract thinking. Food forced humans to invent a complex social structure, but about 10,000 years ago, everything changed. The Neolithic Revolution happened. Someone noticed that the seeds of wild grains sprouted into new crops, And instead of chasing a wild boar all over the forest, you could just catch the piglets, put them in a pen, and feed them. That's how farming was born. We stopped being guests in the wild and started reshaping it to fit our needs. When we traded the spear for the plow, we thought we had defeated hunger. But in reality, we trapped ourselves. The first farmers became dependent on just a few crops, like wheat, rice, or corn. If there was a drought or a crop failure, entire cities starved to death, whereas a hunter gatherer could simply pack up and move to another forest. Nevertheless, there was no turning back. Agriculture allowed humans to feed exponentially more people. The planet's population began to grow, giving rise to civilizations, states, writing, and ultimately the technologies that brought us to today. Today, we live in a world of food abundance. We won this primal quest, but our bodies still remember the rules of that ancient game. Our brains are still programmed as if we are trapped in a dry savanna where every gram of sugar is a lifesaver from starvation. That is exactly why we are so hardwired to crave fast food and sweets. It's not just a lack of willpower, it's an ancient survival program that kept your ancestors alive for 300,000 years. We rebuilt the world around us in just a few centuries, but our biology is still holding an imaginary spear, waiting for winter to strike. And every time you hold the simplest piece of food, behind it lies the epic story of hundreds of thousands of generations who ran, searched, burned food over campfires, and survived against all odds, just so that today, this meal could be yours in a matter of minutes.